speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, party people. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on Ysn Live, brought to you, as always, by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you today. And no matter how many times I hear that theme song every single day. You think you'd get sick of it, but there are some days when I'm just rocking to it, man. And to answer its question today, I am on my own. It is Anthony Hartwig with you. DJ Yoakley has some CEO duties that he has to attend to today. So unfortunately, our last day together as a 2-hour show on a Thursday has been cut short. It is just going to be me today for the 2 hours. And that kind of reminds you that starting on Monday, Running Point moving to a 1-hour time slot from 1 to 2. So don't forget that. Don't tune into an empty show on 12 on Monday. You'll be disappointed because there will be I won't be there at 12. We are going to start at 1 o'clock starting on Monday. For the foreseeable future, we will be a 1 to 2 show for a Halloween debut. That's kind of spooky, right? October 31st being a debut of a new time slot. We'll see how it goes. We're going to have a great show today for you, though. We have plenty of interviews. That is definitely the core of this show. It's going to continue to be the core of this show, getting interviews to you guys from amazing athletes and amazing coaches. Today on the program, we're going to have playing interviews for you guys from Ariana Daniels, who is a great athlete for Poland. I mean, if you don't know this name, you have to know it. I know, a lot of people, basketball fans of that girls program, and she's a player that's kind of a role player for them, does a lot of good things on the court for them, but maybe not the person that gets in the stat line all the time. But if you were a soccer fan, my word, is Ariana Daniels a name that you have to know, because she has broken records this year. And I didn't know this before the interview, and this will be in the interview as well. Ariana, this is her first year as a striker on this Poland team. Spent the rest of her career at Poland as a defender. And because of a few people graduating last year, this year, Coach Huda, pulled her aside in the summer and said, hey, we're going to make you a striker, and we're going to put a lot of the scoring responsibilities, and we're going to put our trust in the offense on you. And all she did in her first year as a striker is break the school record for goals in a season. I mean, maybe she should have been a striker a long time ago before her senior season, but definitely an impressive senior season for Ariana Daniels. She will continue her soccer career at Slippery Rock. We talk about that. We talk about the record-breaking performance. We talk about this incredible run that Poland is on. They are in a district championship. So that's all fun in that interview. Make sure you stick around for that one. We'll also be letting you guys hear a pre-recorded interview from Gianna Constantino, one of the main members of that McDonald volleyball team that will be playing Wellsville tonight in the district championship game. What makes this interesting, and it was the same kind of conversation with Marie Razil a little bit earlier in the week. This team has been unexpectedly shifted in the middle of the season. You don't go into a year expecting to lose your setter midway through, but that's what happened. They had to figure things out on the fly, and Megan Klockner is such a good setter. I will praise till anyone stops me on the setting ability of Megan Klockner. I think she's one of the best in the area, but unfortunately, she was sidelined towards the middle of the season this year with a season-ending situation. And because of that, there were some players that just had to step up and set for their team. And Gianna Constantino and Maria Rizzo, respectively, were those two players that now run a 6-2 offense. But you also couldn't lose their offense because they are both incredible swingers on the outside. So they both got, this chance to just kind of take this team on their back, not on their back, because there are definitely other players that contribute, but to just take this team under their arms and say, okay, tough situation. We can either fold or we can continue on. And Gianna Constantino is one of the players that has definitely helped stride this McDonald team past that adversity and into a district championship for the first time in program history. Remember, this McDonald program just 4 years old. It started 4 years ago, which makes this run even more incredible that they're on. 4-year program, and they're in a district championship already just 4 years into it. Gianna Constantino is a big reason why. We also have some football interviews that we're going to play for you guys because Ian O'Brien yesterday had a great chance to sit down with Coach John Bake from Struthers. And guess what? I hope you're a fan of Struthers because it's going to be the second straight week that we're going to hear from John Bake. Never too much Coach Bake on the show. That is my motto. He is a great coach. Ian O'Brien had a chance to catch up with him yesterday. Great interview with him. And also Alec Grissom, who won Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley not too long ago. Ian O'Brien had a chance to have a player profile with him. We'll be able to play that interview for you today as well. And then we have a live interview today. If that wasn't enough, if those 4 interviews weren't enough to get your appetite, taken care of, we have a live interview with Manny Melito, the last senior that we have to interview from Girard Volleyball. We've interviewed every other senior on the team. So this one is last but not least, and Manny Melito. And she'll talk to us at 1:40, kind of to close out the show. Girard got the big win last night. We'll talk about that a little bit later as we recap the finals from last night. But Maddie Melito will join us at 1:40. 1:40 for Maddie Melito from Girard Volleyball. Once again, the last senior to talk to on that great Girard Volleyball team that is in a district championship today. And with that perfect segue, let's go into the finals from last night. And we will start with the games down in Orwell, Grand Valley, when this district was released, and we saw the 25 teams that made up the district. We knew it was going to be a wild one. Even before the brackets came out, you saw 5 total state-ranked teams in the mix, with Lake Catholic being the number one team in the state, of course. Crestview was in there at number 8. Lakeview was number 9. Kirtland was number 13, and Middle Ridge was number 16. So you saw that district, and you're thinking to yourself as a volleyball fan, how is this going to shake up? How are these teams going to handle the tournament draw? And it was kind of simple. Once Lake Catholic took one bracket, which was the Medina bracket, which I thought was interesting too, because Grand Valley is not too far from Minter Lake Catholic. So I thought, man, they're taking a district that's a little bit further away, a little bit of a drive, but they took the Medina bracket, and every other team kind of went the other way, right? They said, let's not have to deal with the number one team in the state. Let's just all go into our own bracket. That did 2 things, right? That one made this Grand Valley, Orwell, whatever you want to call it, that made this bracket extremely interesting. Because, of course, you have 4 state-ranked teams in one bracket. That's always fun to talk about. A lot of conversations leading up to this district semifinal night. But it also, the flip side of that is, unfortunately, there's going to be one spot for 4 really, really good teams. And Coach Howard talked about it. Wouldn't be surprised if somehow out of this district, whether it be, the Lake Catholic team that is top in the state, or one of these 4 teams that was in the district semifinals last night, someone in this district has a very good chance of winning a state championship out of just this small Northeast district, which is just half of one region in Division 3. So a lot of these teams, tough luck. I think if you were in another district, you probably had a good chance to win it. In any other district in the state, I don't think there is any other district in the state in Division 3 that has 5 state-ranked teams in it. But that's just the way that our area of volleyball does it, right? We are so good in volleyball this year, especially in our Youngstown area. You look at that, 3 of those 5 teams are from our coverage area. You have Middle Ridge, Lakeview, and Crestview all in the YSN family that are state-ranked. And I think that proves that Youngstown volleyball, as though it's been on a downtrend for the last decade, as far as competing with the teams up in Canton, Massillon, those kind of areas, we're on an uptrend now. I mean, we are putting together a lot of quality volleyball, and I think that proves it. Not only did we have those 3 teams in Division 3, Fitch ended the season state ranked, Wellsville ended the season state ranked, and Girard ended the season state ranked. So we had 6 state ranked teams at the end of the regular season, and out of those 6 state ranked teams, um, 5 of them were 6 of them actually were still alive in the district semifinals. Fitch unfortunately fell on Tuesday to Hudson, but all 6 of them made it, to the district semifinals. And then, you have 4 of them in one or 3 of them, 3 out of those 4 are our schools. So you had 3 of them in one bracket. So you knew that only one of those could come out of that district. That's kind of sad part of the way this bracket in this district kind of shook out. You knew that some teams, despite the incredible seasons and the incredible talent they have on their roster, just had to bow out. There was no other way, right? That's the way sports is. Someone has to win, someone has to lose. But I guarantee this bracket will produce a team that has a really solid chance to go win a regional, because they are going to be tested. Their district semifinal game was tough. Their district championship game will be extremely tough. So when they get out of this district, they're going to be sharpened. Maybe some other districts you kind of cakewalk through, right? You kind of stroll right through it, cut through it like a hot knife through butter, and then you get to the regionals, and this is high level volleyball. We're not used to this, and that sometimes can really hurt you. I think in the past, before this super district setup that we had got during COVID, it kind of hurt Crestview a little bit. I think because back then it was only 13 teams in the district. They only had to play their local teams. They were head and shoulders better than the teams in the district. They kind of went right through them. And then they got to regionals and they played like a Gilmore Academy type team. And it was just, they couldn't really gear up all of a sudden for that level of volleyball. But now, not only at the end of their schedule playing Girard and Fitch and Boardman and Salem, but now in this district, they're playing Lakeview last night. They'll play Kirtland on Saturday. They're going to be geared up and sharpened if they're lucky enough to get out of this district. So with that being said, let's talk about these games from Grand Valley last night. The night kicked off with the 8th ranked team in the state, Crestview, versus the 9th ranked team in the state, Lakeview, and it did not disappoint. I'm telling you, I was there. This was high level volleyball, especially the first 2 sets. 25-23, Crestview won the first one. That set the tone for the whole night. It was like, okay, these 2 teams are going to go at it. They're both going to play high level volleyball, and I'm not going to sit here and say that one team didn't play well and one team did. That's not what happened last night. There are some keys to victory that I think were the difference for Crestview. Some things that I saw in Lakeview that were a little bit different, but I think both teams played exceptionally high-level volleyball. And when you're both really good, it comes down to small things, and it comes down to things that you have to kind of pick out of a crowd. You have to nitpick a little bit to decipher the differences. And my initial take on it was, especially in these first 2 sets, and maybe this is speculation, maybe it's not, but I think tournament experience really played a factor last night. You look at Crestview, this is now going to be, because they won. It's going to be their 4th straight district championship appearance, and they've won the last 3. So they know how to win in the district tournament. And unfortunately for Lakeview, although they were Division II and they had to run into Notre Dame Cathedral Latin a couple of times and Girard once, tough teams to beat. So no knock, but the simple fact of the matter is they hadn't won in districts, despite how good they've been in the last 3 years. And I think when it came down to those big plays that needed to be made, I think Crestview was a little bit more aggressive. I think when they got out of system, or when the ball wasn't a perfect pass, it looked like Crestview still made aggressive moves towards the net, and it looked like Lakeview was making some moves to kind of avoid the mistakes. It really felt like in those situations, Crestview just didn't want to lose, and Lakeview just didn't want to lose, and Crestview wanted to win. And there are that's 2 different mindsets in these big time matchups. So wanting to win and not wanting to lose, I think, are 2 different mindsets, because when you want to win, you go and make those aggressive plays, even if they end in a couple errors. I bet that Crestview's hitting percentage was I don't have the numbers in front of me. I can't back this up, but because the errors aren't calculated on the night of, they go into the huddle stats. So, but I would assume that Crestview's hitting percentage was just a little bit lower than Lakeview, but that's because Lakeview didn't take as many chances. They didn't really be aggressive on out of system balls. Some balls for Crestview out of system were hit into the net. Some balls were hit out, but they still made strong swings out of system. And I felt like they were the more aggressive team. And I think that comes from knowing what it takes to win in the tournament because they've done it before. I mean, you look at this team, this program, like I said, they've won district championships 3 years in a row. They're going for their fourth straight. They've been in Barberton. They played Independence last year. Almost everyone on this roster um, either was on the floor last year against Independence or was on the bench and witnessed the people on the floor last year against Independence in that game that went 5 sets with the Blue Devil team that went all the way to the state championship. So you look at that, and I think Crestview kind of understood what it takes to win at that level and win and execute it. Lakeview played really well, not taking away. I mean, 25-23, 25-22 were the first 2 sets. So they could have gone either way. It was just those little things, a couple of points here and there where Lakeview lost aggressiveness a little bit that I think were the difference. I think Crestview passed a little bit better on serve receive too. And that was a big question because when we saw Crestview against Girard, who was a comparable team to Lakeview, especially on the service line, that was their big bugaboo. They could not receive the serve. They couldn't get in the system. And when they can't get in the system, they can't pass Abby. They can't set to Abby Imch. And when they can't set to Abby Imch, their offense struggles because Abby Imch is the leader of that offense, leads the team in kills as the middle. We talked about all that after those 2 games. If you're gonna have your middle blocker be your leader in kills, you better pass well, because if you can't set her, then you lose your leader. You lose your offensive output. And if you're not in system, it's really hard to set the middle. Crestview was in system a ton last night, whether it be on the serve receive or on defense. I think their libero, Emily Downey, played the best game that I've seen her play this year. Now, granted, I've not been at every single Crestview game, but a lot of them have either been broadcasted by YSN or I've been at personally. She played lights out in serve receive, played lights out on defense. And I think that energy came into the back row too. You look at the dig numbers for Crestview. I'll pull them up. Shout out to Coach Auer for sending in stats last night. Because Grace Auer had a triple-double with 22 kills, 22 assists, 16 digs. And then you look at Lainey Auer. She had a double-double, 18 assists, 17 digs. And Emily Downey had 15 digs. And like I said, I think usually the digs come from the Auer girls. Like usually when you look at their stats, the majority of the digs come from Lainey and Grace Auer. And Emily Downey is she's in there. She's getting her digs, but she's not getting double-digit digs every night. They needed her last night. They needed her to be able to get the ball up in the floor. They needed to be able to not have teams attack Grace Auer in the back row so she could be able to set. And Emily Downey really stepped up big for her team. 15 digs on the night for her. It was big. Crestview, once again, when you're in system and you can set the middle, that's their leader. Now on Lakeview's side, Tara Lytle had 16 kills, and Reagan Price had 16 kills. So obviously, they're both their middle blockers still did their job. 32 kills combined with those two. I think they couldn't find enough offense from the secondary hitters. Has struggled getting Emma Schmader involved until that last set when they made a little bit of a push down 18-10 to make that last set interesting, which we'll talk about that last set a little bit later too. And then, Brooke Schneider, they really couldn't get her involved with those secondary hitters are important. Those 5, 6, 7 kills that they can add into your offense while Tara Lytle and Reagan Price are both doing their thing. Those are important because you have 32 total kills from those two, but then you have maybe, let's say, from Schmader, Schneider, and then Pavlansky when she's not setting. If you can get 14, 15 kills out of them combined, then you're golden. But they had really struggled getting their outsides involved last night because I think Abby Imch is so good at moving from side to side of the net. She had 5 blocks in the night, 6 blocks. She is so good at moving. She's probably as far as middle blocking concerned on the defensive side, I think she's the best at moving side to side of the net and getting to those outside pins when you need your middle to block. And then obviously, because you have to focus so much on Lakeview's middles, there were some instances when the outside blockers for Crestview were left one-on-one against Lakeview's outsides, and they did a great job. Excuse me, they did a great job too, because that's what Lakeview thrives on. They thrive on teams putting so much attention on Tara Lytle and Raken Price with their block that their outsides either get one-on-one or open nets, and they're able to take care of that. It wasn't the case last night. I think Crestview's defense, both at the net and we already talked about their back row defense, really helped them out. Obviously, people are going to look at the stats and they're going to see, oh, well, of course they won. Abby Imch had 23 kills and Grace Hour had 22. When your offensive leaders go off like that, well, of course you won. But I think one of the factors that doesn't really get told in the stats, if you look at those kills, are the defense at that Crestview played. I always get those two. Like I'm they're both views. All right, so I'm gonna be mixing them up. But the defense that Crestview played, both at the net and in the back row, really did wonders for them, and that's I think why they were able to win. The final set scores, by the way, we'll get to those. 25-23, 25-22. Lakeview dominated set 3. This was impressive. I thought this was going 5 when Lakeview came out and just took set 3 by storm. Probably the one of the biggest set differentials that Crestview has had all season. 25-13, Lakeview won set 3. But Crestview put it right back together and won set 4, 23-20 to wrap up the match. And in that set, by the way, though, Lakeview never said die. And that's what I wanted to come back to because it was impressive. Crestview really started that set with authority. And they came out of losing a really tough set 3 with a really good start to set 4. They were up 18-10. And then all of a sudden, here comes Lakeview. All of a sudden, it's 20-17. Lakeview scored that's 7 of the last 11. 7 of the last 10 points. They were on a run. It could have teetered the other way. Coach Howard called the timeout, calmed her team down, and then they came out of the next run, and they put together a couple of points in a row, and they put down that comeback attempt really, really quickly, and they won that set 25-20. So props to Crestview. You're going to your 4th straight district championship game, looking for your 4th straight win, and we can proudly announce that game on Saturday in Grand Valley against Kirtland will be on ysnlive.com. That has been sponsored by Baker's Golden Dairy. And I want a side note because Baker's Golden Dairy is amazing. I know that comes as a shock because Anthony has been so picky. And that's one of the things that I get made fun of a lot of on YSN is how picky I am. And obviously there's a lot of specialty flavors of milk. That's kind of what I love about Baker's Golden Dairy, like their cookies and cream milk. Oh, wow. So good. It's like a Blizzard, but it's liquid. It's cookies and cream. If you haven't had Baker's Golden Dairy milk, you need to get it. You need to go down to Columbiana County and get some. Rachel Baker is one of the owners of that, and she is obviously a former Rachel Storm Baker. She was Rachel Storm when she played for Crestview. She played there. She coached there for a little bit, coached at South Range for a couple of years as well. Led South Range to 3 district championship games as a head coach. And we thank her for obviously her sponsorship to be able to bring what is going to be a really good district championship to you guys on Saturday. That'll be the 8th ranked team in the state, Crestview, against the 13th ranked team in the state, Kirtland. And they are in the district, they are 2nd ranked and 3rd ranked. So it'll be 2 versus 3 in the district seedings and 8 versus 13 in the state rankings. So that will be a fun one on Saturday. Once again, it'll be brought to you by Baker's Golden Dairy. Let's go over some of the other finals from last night. In that Grand Valley district, it was another matchup between state-ranked teams as Kirtland and Middle Ridge squared off. Middle Ridge was the 16th ranked team in the state after the end of the season. Kirtland was 13. And Middle Ridge actually came out of this game set 1 on fire. Their serve was getting Kirtland out of system and a lot. They had a really aggressive serving. And because of that, they won set 1, 25-19. And it felt like Middle Ridge came to play and they were going to put together a really strong performance. But somewhere along the line, I was talking to Coach Lesko afterwards, a couple of service errors happened. And unfortunately, their kids, it happens. The aggressiveness of the serve went away, especially in sets 2 and 3. That's when you saw Kirtland really, when they're in system and they can go, their offense is so good. They can set fast, they can set slow, they set outside a lot. When they're in system, they really are a great offense to contend with. But the one time Middle Ridge had success in that first set, they got Kirtland out of system a lot with their serve. But like I said, a couple of service errors in that set too, and I felt like they started to, like Lakeview when I was talking about their aggressiveness. I think Middle Ridge started to make plays, not to lose, plays not to lose instead of plays to win. And you got to make plays to win in this kind of tournament game. You can't let a team like Kirtland get consistently in system. And then once Kirtland found a rhythm, no matter how aggressive Middle Ridge got, this Kirtland defense is legit. They were putting the ball up, putting the ball in play. I saw some ridiculous digs that weren't just, oh my gosh, I can't believe that girl got that up. I can't believe she got that up and made a perfect pass and got Kirtland in the system. I mean, when outside of that one set, the first set where they were out of system a lot, Middle Ridge took advantage. Set 2-4, Kirtland got into system so much. It was fun to watch their defense work, and they kind of flexed their muscles. They won sets 2, 3, and 4 pretty decisively, and came away with a 4-set victory. When you look at the stats from last night, I'll pull them up. Middle Ridge played really good defense as well. They had 4 players with double-digit digs, and I'm going to pull up the stats right now. I got them from Coach Lesko. When you look at their dig numbers, Faith Schneider led with 20 digs. Ava Hewlett had 18. Olivia Booth had 19. And then Samantha Aulette had 15 digs. So you had 4 players with double-digit digs. But you look at their kill numbers, they just couldn't get their offense rolling enough. Ava Hewlett with 12 kills, but their leader in kills for the season, and the MVAC Scarlet Tier Player of the Year, Faith Schneider, just could not get a rhythm. 8 kills for her on the night. And I think Kirtland did a really good job defending the outside on their net defense and on their back row, really. And they tried to make adjustments, setting in different spots. They just couldn't make it quick enough. They wanted to switch where they were setting the outsides. They wanted to take advantage of a high outside set that was close to the pin. I was able to hear Coach Lesko really clearly because I was sitting right behind the bench taking pictures. And, they wanted to make a couple adjustments of where they were setting their outsides. And they just could not make that adjustment and stay aggressive. It was really tough to make that adjustment and stay aggressive on the fly. I felt like every time they set the ball where they wanted to, they were making conservative hits because they were a little bit too close to the pin or things like that. So when they got the sets they wanted, unfortunately, their hitters were making a little bit of a passive attack. And when you have an offense like Kirtland, letting them get in the system, so tough. Samantha Aulette, our 2022 Setter of the Year, 25 assists, double for her as well with those 15 digs. Ava Hewlett had a double for Middle Ridge, 12 kills and 18 digs for her. Olivia Booth blocked well. She also played good defense with 19 digs, 3 blocks for her. Hannah Loeb had 2. Middle Ridge ends the season at 24-3. They were the champions at the MVAC Scarlet Tier. So we want to congratulate Middle Ridge for an incredible season for sure and an incredible ride. I think Coach Lesko is one of the best coaches in the area, especially when it comes to the X's and O's of volleyball. When I hear him coach up his team on what adjustments they have to make and where he wants these balls to go, and even hear him last night because they were watching the Crestview Lakeview game right behind me. I heard him kind of break down both teams and like, if we get here, this is what we have to do. This middle is doing this or this outside is doing this. We have to take advantage of this. He's got a wonderful volleyball mind when it comes to scheme, X's and O's, and things like that. So Coach Lesko, I've loved covering him the last couple of years. Definitely got to see him win a district championship 2 years ago during his daughter's senior year, Caitlin Lesko. That was one of my favorite moments of YSN so far, being able to interview them both after that win and actually get like a candid hug from them on camera after the win. That was one of the great moments on YSN. You can still find that game too, which is the wonderful thing about ysnlive.com. Scroll down the on-demand section at Middle Ridge and still find that district championship from 2019. But back to the point, congratulations on Middle Ridge on a great season. The final set scores for this game, 25-19, Middle Ridge won the first set. Kirtland won the next three, 25-17, 25-12, 25-18 were the set scores there. So congratulations again to Middle Ridge on a great season. Kirtland will play Crestview in the district championship on Saturday. Once again, that'll be on ysnlive.com. Thanks to our wonderful friends at Baker's Golden Dairy. Some other scores from volleyball last night, as Girard is now in the district championship. They get the 3-0 straight set win over Aurora. Lauren Palone had 22 kills and Brie Littell had 20. So when those two are both going off like that, Girard is just excuse me. Girard is almost impossible to stop if their offensive players are going like that. Berkshire, this is a game that I thought would be competitive, but they flexed their muscles. They swept Garfield 3-0, even though that game went 5 earlier in the season. Canfield lost to Notre Dame Cathedral Latin in 3. Congratulations to the Cardinals on an incredible season. You look at that roster, a lot of seniors. So they're going to have a tough task next year trying to decide, who's going to take those places. Coach Nesbitt, great first year. I saw a lot more collective energy from that Canfield team this year than I did last year. So it was apparent that they were still holding that high standard that they have always had, but they were also, I think, having a little bit more fun this year with it, and they were able to have a little bit more energy because of that. We go into the Streetsboro district of Division II. Jefferson swept West Branch. So the Falcons still alive and well. They'll go to the district championship game against Notre Dame Cathedral Latin on Saturday. South Range, last final for volleyball, they fell to Minter Lake Catholic in a straight sweep. Was able to get some stats from TJ Irons in this game. The set scores, Lake Catholic won the first one pretty handily, 25-8, but South Range really battled back and got competitive in the next two, 25-17, 25-19 were your set scores of sets 2 and 3. Maria Primavera finishes her career with a double-double, 10 kills, 10 digs. Gianna Pasquale had 10 digs as well. Jamie Farron had 10 assists and 7 digs for the Raiders. So they conclude their season with a tough loss to the number 1 team in the state. Congratulations to the Raiders on an incredible year. 2 soccer scores to get to. Beaver Local Girls Soccer fell to New Philadelphia 4-1, and Louisville Boys Soccer fell to Maslin Jackson 2-0 last night. With that, we will take our first break of the day, and we will come back on Running Point. We're going to talk a little bit about the individual award winners in the volleyball season, as well as we'll get to our interviews on Running Point as well. So don't go anywhere. On Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
I support police funding, securing our borders, and parental rights in education. I'm attorney Mark Hanai, the only Republican running for the 7th District Court of Appeals. I will always follow the law.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mark Hanai judge. Dave Johnson, chairman.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
I'm Mark Hanai, a conservative Republican. I believe in family values, the Second Amendment, and our Constitution. Vote for the only Republican running for the 7th District Court of Appeals. Protect your rights. Vote Hanai for judge.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online.
Wednesday afternoon weather update. Very dangerous.
And on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. And let's get to some interviews, right? Let's get to some interviews. That's what that's what this show is all about. Let's hear from Ariana Daniels. We're going to kick off with a soccer interview. Ariana Daniels, the senior from Poland girls soccer record holder, broke the Poland record for most goals in a season in her first year as a striker. We'll hear about that and a lot more in this conversation with the Poland senior. We hope you enjoy, and then we'll be back to talk about it on Running Point. Anthony Hartwig here with a Poland girls soccer player profile. I am joined by Ariana Daniels. Ariana, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
You've been breaking records with this girls soccer team. From your perspective, reflect on this season as a whole and what it's been like for you to be as successful as you've been.
I think overall throughout the season, we have come a long way. And I think being in Division III now, it really helped us out with the success that we are having. And I think that the team overall has just shown the success that we have.
What were some of your personal goals that you set for yourself coming into this season?
Well, I switched from a defender to a striker this year. So a lot of it was just really understanding the new position that I had and being able to contribute the best way that I could to help out my team.
Man, did you understand it a lot? I mean, you've been scoring at such a high clip. What do you think was the big factor in being able to switch to that position so well and to find so much success in a new position?
I think with the help of my teammates being able to pass the ball around, like a lot of those girls have played up top genuinely like most of their soccer careers. So I think just having them to work with really helped. And also having my coach who his son plays, so he knows a lot about like that scoring aspect of the game. So he really helped me out with that.
All right, Coach Huda, we have to talk about him because you just brought him up. What has he meant to you, and how much has he taught you about the game of soccer while you've been under him?
He is my favorite coach I've ever had. I could definitely say that. And I just think overall his personality and how much he cares and how much heart he has towards the game really shows throughout our team.
We see him on the sidelines all the time. What is something about him that people don't know or that don't get to see a lot if they just go to the games that you think they should?
I think they should know that he is a really funny guy and he makes jokes all the time and we are constantly laughing.
Does he match your sense of humor, or does he have a different kind of sense of humor than you do?
I would say we're pretty similar in a way, but I think he's too funny for his own good.
I like that. Obviously, you made a decision about your future in the soccer sport as well. Don't want to take this moment away from you. So, for people that don't know, tell them what decision you made a little bit earlier this season about the future of your soccer career.
I decided to commit to Slippery Rock University to play soccer.
What was it about Slippery Rock that kind of made that decision easy and made you land at that university?
So I did an ID camp, and it was the first ID camp I ever done for soccer before. And just being around the girls and being around a community of a lot of good soccer players, it just felt really nice and it was fun. The girls were very nice and it was competitive and I love to compete.
All right, this is going to be a two-part question. What are you most excited about playing soccer at the next level?
I'm most excited about being able to see how much farther I can go with my skills and the success that I've had.
What makes you the most nervous about playing soccer at the next level?
I think just knowing that there's going to be a lot of girls who are really good athletes and just having that competition every day, having someone to push you every day, I think that that's going to be something big.
Obviously, you're going to have to live there as well. What are you most what makes you the most nervous about living by yourself?
I think living by yourself, you just have to do all of those things like cook for yourself. You have to clean up, all of the things that normally, you do at home, but mainly mom's doing it. So you're not doing that much of it. But I think living by yourself and just kind of having that independence of having to be able to do things on your own is going to be a different thing.
Do you think you're well prepared for that?
I think I am.
When you look at your soccer career as a whole, what are some of your favorite memories that you've made with this program? We'll start with on the field memories. What are some favorite on the field memories with Poland?
I think my favorite memory on the field is when one of our girls scored her first goal this year, and she was so excited because for the past 5 games before that, all she was talking about is, oh, I want to score so bad. I want to score so bad. So she finally had that moment, and then she had 2 goals that game. So we were just all really excited for her.
What about your favorite off the field moment with this team, and especially bonding with these teammates?
I think we had a team sleepover. We've had team dinners, and I think just being able to be around the girls and, talk about girl things, get to know each other personally, and really see what's going on with each other off the field is very important. And so I really enjoyed that.
Okay, so we have to talk about another moment that you had this year. Obviously, you said first year as a striker, all you did was break a school record in goals in a season. What was that moment like, that game like, when you broke that record?
So we weren't really sure where I was at and what the record was exactly, but we had a decent amount, a decent idea of that. I was 3 goals away. So it didn't happen on the field when I realized, but when I got off the field and we all realized that I had beat the record, it was just really exciting and just a moment of appreciation for the game.
Obviously, you've worked so hard at this sport. What are some things that you love so much about it that make you keep coming back to it and keep working so hard at it?
I just love how much of the work ethic that you have to put into it and the time and, just being able to manage everything going on in your life with coming back to a sport that you really love and care about.
We'll take you back to young Ariana. What are some of your earliest memories that you have with the sport of soccer?
When I was younger, we played like in a kid league thing, and my team won the championship 3 years in a row.
When is that kind of when you fell in love with the sport too? When you saw that success as a young athlete?
Yeah, I think just seeing like the game and all the different kids playing and just being able to do a sport, and I had my mom coaching me, so that was really fun about it. It just kind of made me realize like this is something that I really enjoy doing and I would like to do in the future.
Hard to imagine. You're a senior already, class of 23. What about this senior season has been special for you, and how have you handled the emotions of being a senior?
I think overall being a senior, it happens in the blink of an eye. You don't realize that the moment has come until it's here, and it's like, wow, I'm a senior now. But I think just working with my team every day and being around the girls and, the family that we have, I think that has definitely made this year a great year.
Who were some seniors of the past that made a big impact on you and helped you know what to do now that you're a senior leader?
Ariel Grishel, she was a great leader for us. And Mia Morantis, I thought she was a really good leader for us as well.
How would you define your leadership qualities as a senior?
I would say overall, like, I think the four of us as captains, we all work together and maintain. So I don't think it's like necessarily an individual thing, but I think the four of us all have different qualities that bring it together, which is why the leadership for our team is successful.
You brought it up earlier, you're a Division III team now, but you still play that Division II type of schedule. What has it been like to go through that, and how much do you think it has prepared you for this tournament run that you're on right now?
I definitely think that the teams like Howland and Canfield and West Branch have definitely shown us that there are very good competition out there, and that we're going to have to work 10 times harder if we want to be successful.
All right, you are a multiple sport athlete. You'll be playing hoops in the winter. What's it like transitioning from one sport to the other for you?
I guess I've played basketball like all around, playing travel basketball, so I've always been kind of used to jumping from like straight from basketball to soccer and then right back to basketball. But I think it'll be an easy transition. I just think it might be hard because it's the last year of soccer.
What are some things that you take from soccer that help you in your basketball game?
I think just being able to change your pace, like with acceleration with the ball in soccer, that's the same in basketball. You need to be able to change speeds, move directions quickly.
With travel basketball, soccer, you've been able to also be coached by a lot of different personalities and a lot of different people that have different philosophies. What do you think that's done for you just as an athlete to be able to be coached by different people and hear from different ideas from different mindsets?
I think definitely having a different amount of coaching styles from multiple different people helps out in so many ways, because you get like the honest, you get the nice, you get the mean, and it just kind of all comes together and forms you into a player where like you can take criticism, but then at the same time you enjoy having the niceness of it, but then as well as when they're hard on you, like you need that too.
All right, so we have talked about your future as far as a soccer player at Slippery Rock. What about your major and some career paths that you want to see yourself getting into in the next several years?
So I plan on majoring in early childhood education. I would like to be an elementary school teacher for my future.
All right, that opens up the box of saying, what do you have an elementary school teacher that kind of impacted your life that made you want to be an early childhood education teacher?
So I had this teacher, Mrs. Smith, and she was my favorite teacher in elementary school. And she just kind of, the way that she taught and how she was with us, it just like you just always felt loved, and like going to school was always so fun. And so I just want to be able to do that for someone else.
So you're going to be spending your career working with the youth. How have you worked so well with the youth of the sports, whether it be the little girl basketball players that want to be like you on the varsity court, or the little girl soccer players that want to be like you on the varsity field? How have you been able to impact their lives as a varsity member of the teams?
So we've had multiple like little or like the kids come in and you have the high schoolers coaching them. And so I just think being able to work with them in that way, they were able to, get comfortable around us and just really like see what it's like to be a high schooler, and it just gives them something to look up to.
Who, when you think of role models that you had back when you were younger, who were some role models that you had that helped you and guided you throughout the young years of the sport?
I think my biggest role model growing up would have been my brother. He was always pushing me. He always wanted me to be great, and he always criticized me, and I didn't like it. But I think overall it really helped me, and the success that he's had is kind of transferring to the success that I'm having.
What were some things that he used to say that you thought were nuts? Like, no way. That now that you're older, you realize, yeah, you were probably right about that.
Well, I think for basketball, it was always, you need to shoot the ball. You did this wrong. You did that wrong. And I'd always be like, you don't know what you're talking about, even though he played the sport. So he definitely knew what he was talking about. But I think just having him constantly telling me, like, at that moment, I should have done that. And, just the different ways of doing things and why, I think that helped me realize that, he was maybe right.
All right, before I let you go, I want to hit you with some rapid fire questions. Hope to get to know you a little bit off the field and off the court. So my first question is, if you could have any car, whether if money wasn't an option, what car would you want to buy?
I think I would just buy a Mustang.
Go for it. What color would you want that Mustang to be?
Baby blue.
Is that your favorite overall color, or is that just your favorite like car color?
No, baby blue is my favorite color overall.
All right. What is one thing that you spend a lot of money on that you think maybe you shouldn't?
Getting acrylic nails.
What was your last impulse buy?
Oh, I'm not sure. Probably my Halloween costume.
All right. What's the favorite Halloween costume you've ever had?
I was a fairy one year. I think I really enjoyed that one.
What about Halloween candy? If I was going to give you a snack bag and you had to pick 5 candy bars that made this Halloween bag the best bag you've ever gotten, what 5 candy bars would show up in it?
Okay, Snickers, Twix, Hershey's, peanut M&Ms, and Skittles.
Awesome. Good mix up there. What are some candies you don't like? If they were in there, this bag would be trash.
I don't like the candy corn and anything like sour. I just really don't like sour candy.
Are you for horror movies or against them during spooky season?
Oh, I love them.
What's your favorite horror movie?
I really like the Halloween series. I grew up watching that with my brothers all the time.
The old ones?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Ariana, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Before we do let you go, I want to give you the chance to shout out your support system and all the people that have been there supporting you throughout the years.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that has been there for me and has helped me become the player that I am, and you're very much appreciated.
All right, thank you again for giving us the time. We appreciate it. Good luck in the rest of the tournament run, and we'll look forward to talking to you again real soon.
All right, thank you.
Ariana Daniels from Poland Girls Soccer was able to join me yesterday and able to play that interview for you guys here today. If you missed it, it'll be up soon on ysnlive.com and our YouTube page. Make sure to head over there for all the video content that we put up on our YouTube and on our website. You don't want to miss it. If you're over there, if you're watching on it now, hit that subscribe button if you feel nice enough to do it. Give us a new subscriber. Also hit that like button on these videos. And sorry about that. And make sure to hit that notification bell, as you never want to miss any of the videos that we put up on our YouTube. We put up a lot of them, usually at least 1 or 2 per day, whether they be player interviews, coaches' corners, post-game interviews, game highlights, etc., etc. You never want to miss a minute of our video content that we put up on our YouTube page. So make sure to hit that notification bell, because let's be honest, the YouTube algorithm can be funky and you don't want to miss anything that we post. So hit that notification bell and get alerted every time that we post a video. We promise not to be too annoying. All right, let's get into the volleyball postseason awards. I want to talk about these because we have announced all of them except for, of course, the Player of the Year, which will be announced tomorrow. But I want to go over all the ones that we've announced so far. And on Monday, we were able to announce Freshman of the Season, Freshman of the Year, and this one was the easiest decision in my opinion. When we were talking to our staff and talking to some other people around the volleyball area and the volleyball world for advice and what they thought. This one was the easiest one. It was simple. Riley Simons, Austin Town Fitch. When you come into a program as a freshman, and you not only make an impact to say like I'm going to be a good setter, or I'm going to lead this team. Like you make an impact to the extent that I am one of the best setters you've had in the program, and I am only a freshman. That is eye-opening. She has shattered the record for assists in a season and also shattered the record for assists in a match already. And I'm telling you, if she has a season like this year, she will break the career assist record. No problem. And there are a lot of good setters that have come through that Fitch program most recently. And the records who she broke, Emma Bartlett, a couple of years ago, was a fantastic setter for Fitch. So Riley Simons, freshman of the year. You looked at her numbers, over 800 assists on the year. That was staggering enough. But I think that those records are what really tipped the scales when you talk about freshman of the year. There was just no one that did it better as a freshman, no one that had a bigger impact as a freshman to come in. And like I said, come in not only to say, I'm going to make an immediate impact on this team and I'm going to set up this offense, but I am going to be one of the best setters you've ever had. And I'm just a freshman. So we look forward to the rest of her career. She's got 3 amazing seasons left at Fitch, and we can't wait to see what she does. Unfortunately, the Falcons did fall out of the tournament in the district semifinals against Hudson. But in that game, she kind of backed up that award. She got that award on Monday, and then on Tuesday she went down and got 51 assists in that loss to Hudson. So 51 assists in a match is incredible, and we've only had one setter all year that has had more than that in one match, and that was Riley Malott from Southern, who had a great match against Columbiana in a 5-set thriller. She had in the 60s, and actually that total for Riley Malott, by the way, was 10th in the state as far as the record books for assists in a match, and no one had gotten that many assists in a match since 2015 in the state of Ohio. So that was an impressive night for her. But back to Riley Simons, that decision was an easy one for us to make on Freshman of the Year. Like I said, no one came into a program and broke records. So when you do that as a freshman, you open a lot of eyes, especially if you break a season record. You could have a good match as a freshman, a good game as a freshman, but when you come in and break a season milestone record, that's when you know that you've had a really good freshman season. And we're excited to see what Riley Simons has going for the rest of the year. We also announced our coach of the year on Monday, and this one was harder, right? Because we have a lot of really good coaches in the volleyball sport of volleyball and Ysn family. There were so many people to consider. There were so many candidates, and when we were kind of breaking it down, we were like, okay, of course, a lot of these coaches are great. A lot of these coaches get a lot of out of their kids. A lot of these coaches have put together really great seasons, wins and loss record, and some of these coaches even have put together seasons that are the best in the program's history. So it was really hard. But we decided on Phil Walters from Girard, and one of the things that I thought was the difference maker in Phil Walters was the big wins that they were able to get, and the way that he was able to develop players that from the beginning of the year to the end of the season, like Nico Cochran, Manny Melito, and Bailey Walters taking over a libero spot, making that change after Bailey Walters ran a 6'2" last year with Allison Durkin, moving her to libero and letting Allie Durkin just take over the setting role. That's a big moment, and she's shined as a setter her senior year. So that was a big decision to make, and he made the right one there. They have big wins over Fitch, Crestview, Lakeview, It was just hard to deny the season that Girard had had, and it was also hard to deny the development that some of his players have had over the course of the season. I didn't mention Ezra Dede. I mean, the development that Ezra Dede showed this year as a blocker for Girard just kind of it speaks dividends on Phil Walter's ability to not just go out and win volleyball games and not just go out and know the game inside and out. And if you sit down and talk volleyball with Phil Walters, you will learn the sport very quickly because he's been doing it for a long time and he knows the sport like the back of his hand. Also coaches club volleyball, runs a club organization as the head of the organization. So he does a lot in the sport of volleyball. He's had daughters that have gone on to play in college, now coach in college. Bailey Walters, of course, still on Girard's team. It was the development that I think was the tipping point in Coach of the Year when I saw the development of players. Obviously, when you have Brie Littell and Lauren Pallone, they're going to do their thing. He's coached them well. I'm not saying that they haven't developed, but when we've seen the development of the secondary players that like Nico Cochran, who got 7 kills last night in the district semifinal, we see development from Ezra Dede. We see him making that move to say, okay, we're going to move Bailey Walters to libero. We're going to have Allison Durkin set the whole time as a 5-1 setter. That was a big decision to make, and it really worked out for him. Durkin had, 44 assists last night against Aurora in their district semifinal. So he's made all the right decisions this year. He's really coached up those kids, and I think he's done the most with the least. As far as where these kids were in the summer and beginning of the season, he's really developed those kids into really great volleyball players, and we definitely hope that he's able to win a district championship on Saturday. This is going to be a big matchup for Girard against Marlington. 2 really good volleyball teams that are going to be squaring up on Saturday in Jefferson. So Phil Walters winning Coach of the Year. In my opinion, it was a tough discussion. We definitely talked a lot. We threw in other names. I'll throw in the other names too. Alicia Hour always gets conversation on Coach of the Year because of what she's done for the Crestview program and her longevity of being able to consistently put up really strong winners. And one of the things that was in her corner was the amount of seniors that she lost last year and the fact that they didn't miss a beat this season as well. That was impressive. Dan McKinstry is always in the conversation. He's one of the best volleyball coaches in the area. He got his 800th win this year. East Liverpool has had the best season in their program. So he was in the conversation as well. And Heather Guthrie from Lakeview was in the conversation because her and Phil really went at it in the 88. They split. So it was hard to say okay, Phil Walters was better because they kind of split on the court. And Coach Guthrie went from losing the 88 last year to Girard to getting her team back refocused and really worked a lot with those 5 seniors to win the 88 again this year and win it for the 3rd time in 4 seasons for the Bulldogs. She was in the conversation. Coach Lesko, who was the MVAC Scarleteer Coach of the Year, was in the conversation for Middle Ridge. There were a lot of really good volleyball teams. I thought Penny DeShields from West Branch should have been in the conversation and was in the conversation because she kind of took that program last second. She wasn't expecting to come back this year. Some circumstances left them without a coach, and she kind of just stepped into it. And that says a lot because she's been coaching a lot. She has a lot of responsibilities as a principal at West Branch. And she just said, okay, I'm going to do this for this program. And they still had a really good season. They had to make a couple of drastic lineup changes through the middle of the season. So they really did a good job. So Coach DeShields was in the conversation. There were a lot of coaches that got a lot of talks and thoughts in this decision, but eventually it came down to Phil Walters, and he won the Coach of the Year. So congratulations to him. Tuesday, we announced our Setter of the Year on YSN, and the Setter of the Year was another hard discussion. I mean, we had so many good setters, and it came down to a couple, differences here because there are a lot of setters that run a 6-2 versus a 5-1, and when you're talking about that, it's like, yeah, you're going to have more assist numbers because you're setting more. So how much do you really put into, one setter having, maybe a 600, 700 assists and another setter having, 350 to 400 because they just split time with a setter. But, does the setting quality change? There was a lot of discussion about that. We gave it to Samantha Allett from Middle Ridge, from Middle Ridge. And when I looked at Samantha Allett, one of my big things about her was her efficiency as a setter, because she only has 11 ball handling errors all season. Now that includes not just the double touches that are called, but Coach Lesko will go in and give you an error if you don't set to the right spot, or if you have a misset that leads to an attack error. He will go in, and he's told me this. He will go in. It won't be recorded by Huddle, because the Huddle assist cams don't record that as an error. But he will absolutely go in and say, okay, you did not set this to the right spot, and I will take that error off of our hitter and put it on a ball handling error for you as a setter. That's how he stats his setters. He holds his setters to a very high bar. Danielle Olet, before Samantha Olet, 2,000 plus assists. She was held to a high standard. That's why she's a college level center. So Samantha Olet comes in her sophomore season, has a great year, 700 plus assists. And this year, all she does is break 1,000 career assists in just 2 seasons, because she's a junior. But remember, her freshman season, her sister Danielle was setting. So she had 2 seasons as the starting varsity setter and got to 1,000 really quick. I think she has all the right tools for a setter. She's really good at setting off the ball, which means like if the ball is out of system, still getting the ball up to her hitters. Really good at that. Really good footwork. Very rarely gets a double touch. She's really fun to watch. I think she has all the tools of a setter. And despite being a 5'1" compared to a couple other setters that were 6'2", yes, she had the numbers to back it up, obviously, with 600 plus assists this year. She had less sets. She had less sets played than the other setters that were in the conversation too, which was one of the factors too. I always like to look at per stat per kill per set, right? So assists per set when you're talking about a setter, how many they can get per set played, and that goes into how many sets they were able to play. Was Middle Ridge winning a lot in 3? Absolutely, they were. So 600 and I believe under 70 sets when these awards were kind of submitted over the weekend. We're releasing them one a day to stagger them, but they were submitted over the weekend. So these award winners have been locked in from over the weekend. So when those stats came in, over 600 assists and in under 70 sets played. Obviously, she played 4 more sets last night in the district semifinal. But I've gotten a chance to watch her a couple of times. I think she has all the tools to be a really, really good setter, and she does a lot of really good things. Very smart setter, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So she was the one that I was vouching for her, and we had a lot of conversations with our staff and with other people around the volleyball arena that know volleyball and now know the area volleyball players pretty well. And Samantha Olet kind of came out as the winner. There were definitely other players involved. Grace Auer is a great setter for Crestview. She's always getting double doubles. She's runs a 6'2". She's been doing that for a couple of years at Crestview. Riley Malott was in the conversation. Obviously, her setting numbers are ridiculous this year. With that one match against Columbiana with 60 plus assists, she's been doing it really well. One of the things that separated Samantha Olet from her was that we looked at strength of schedule a little bit and who are you setting against. Middle Ridge goes up against Western Reserve twice. They go up against McDonald. They're both in district championship games. You go up against Lake Center Christian in the regular season, go up against Lakeview, Canfield in the regular season. Middle Ridge played a schedule that went way above and beyond their division with games against Lakeview and Crestview and Kirtland. They really did a good job this year putting together a bulky schedule. I said Crestview, but I meant Canfield. They played Canfield this year. They also played West Branch as well. That's a Division II team. So they did a really good job going out and finding really good teams. And in all those games, I looked at those stats, those games, all that really showed up in those matches too. So showing up against really good opponents was really one of the difference makers, along with her efficiency, not making a lot of ball handling errors, only 11 all season, going into, of course, not including last night, because like I said, these awards were locked in over the weekend before these tournament games kind of were a thing. So Samantha Olet, setter of the year, congratulations to her from Middle Ridge. I think she earned it. She's got one more year to go at Middle Ridge. We're excited to see what she has to do in her senior season for the Rams. Then on Wednesday, we had Defensive Player of the Year. This one was a little bit easier because Parker Wilkins, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, is the best libero in the area. Her numbers kind of back that up. I think only one libero had more digs, but she had more digs per set, and she had a lot less receiving errors too. I looked at receiving errors for libero, how many times she's being served compared to how many times she's out of air. She has 420 some serve receives, and she only made, I think, 29 serve receive errors this season, which is really impressive. She gets a lot of balls up. She moves really well as a libero. Uh, she's just so good. Like, I can't speak highly enough about Parker Wilkins. So good. She moves really well, always in the right position. And I think one of the other great attributes is she leads the back row really well. You look at the back row at Canfield, they have a lot of really good back row players that they get a lot of digs. You know, Alana Lawson back there is a defensive specialist. When Riley Kincaid is in the back row, she digs really well. And everyone at Canfield plays really good defense. You look at their dig numbers. So I'm going to bring them up just for the sake of argument. I want to see what these numbers were, because if I remember correctly, there were multiple players for Canfield that had over 100 digs on the season. And that's a tribute to the libero, because the libero definitely leads the back row, gets everybody in position, and sets the tone as a back row defender. When you look at Canfield's stats, I hit roster. When you look at Canfield's stats, hold on. There it is. Look at Canfield stats for digging. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 players over 100 digs, and Parker Wilkins led them with 370 up until last night. And then Maddie Cleveley had 300. Alana Lawson had 89. And then you had Riley Kincaid with 168. So when you have 4 players with over 100 digs and you still lead the team in digs, that's impressive. And obviously, like I said, leading the back row was uber impressive for Parker Wilkins. So he really stood out as a libero. Some other players that were in the conversation: Grace Johns from Jackson Milton, very excellent libero back there for them. She does a really good job. She actually had the most digs of anyone in the Ysn family. Like I said, a few more sets, so her digs per set was a little bit under Parker Wilkins, but she has the most digs in the Ysn family as far as libero goes. I think Maddie Bayes is a really good libero from Lakeview. She was in the conversation as well. You look at some other liberos. Aubrey Ramsey from Wellsville doesn't get nearly as much love as I think she should. Definitely with Presley Stokes doing everything that she's doing for the Tigers, she gets a lot of attention. But Aubrey Ramsey put together a really good season as libero for Wellsville, making that situation a little bit easier, because you lose McNichol, who was a really good setter last year, and you kind of have Presley Stokes stepping into the setter role. You want to make her job as easy as possible, running that 6-2. And one of the ways to do that is have really good passing, so your setter doesn't have to move too much. And Aubrey Ramsey has definitely done a really good job at that. She's an excellent libero down there at Wellsville. She was in the conversation. But like I said, Parker Wilkins, her efficiency, the hitters that she's had to go up against, and I put this in the article just for a reference. She had 30-plus digs against Girard, who have Lauren Pallone and Brie Littell swinging. 2 matchups with Fitch, she had a combined 35 digs against the Falcons and a hitter like Jocelyn Jordan. She also had to go up against McDonald, Middle Ridge, which have really good hitters. Boardman has a good offense. She had to go up against Howland, that has Courtney Clark and Sienna Dykes. So really good hitters that she had to go up against, not just in her conference, but in her out-of-conference schedule. And she consistently put up the dig numbers to match. So in my opinion, best libero in the area, and she won YSN defensive player of the year. Last but not least, this one was the hardest. Offensive player of the year. We just released it a little bit ago. Tara Lytle from Lakeview is the one that came out on top of our discussions for player of the year. But man, there were so many strong hitters. Last year, Lauren Pallone won it for YSN. She put up another really strong season. You could have given it to so many different players. Abby Emch from Crestview was another really good middle blocker. And in full disclosure, full transparency, it came down to Abby Emch and Tara Lytle, and it was so close. It was so close. I was looking at numbers. I had to dig into numbers that I'll go into, but because one had the edge in one number, and then the other had the edge in another number, and then you had to really go into little fine details to make this decision. And one of the things that I think stood out for Tara Lytle when I was looking at her numbers was her efficiency. 585 hitting percentage this year is ridiculously good. For people that don't know how to calculate hitting percentage, it is your total kills minus your errors over your total attack. So it's like if baseball subtracted all your strikeouts from your hits and then did the batting average, that's what it would kind of be like. You subtract errors from your kills, and then all the attacks together, even the ones that don't land, go into that, and then you divide it by it. So she only had 39 errors going into the weekend, which is once again when we submitted these award winners. So 39 errors on 545 total attacks. That is a hitting percentage of 585, which is it's video game type numbers. It's not seen in volleyball. You don't see a lot of people hitting above 500 for a season. You might see above 500 in a match, maybe a couple matches, maybe a week of 500 volleyball, but hitting 585, almost 600 as a season number is just ridiculous. And I wanted to do the math because Abby Emsch had a little bit more sets and she's been set a little bit more. So I wanted to see where Tara Lytle's kind of errors would be if she kept that pace for the amount of sets that Abby Emsch had. Abby Emsch had about 100 more sets and 100 more attacks than Tara Lytle. And I did the math, and it would have been like if that pace kept up, which is an if. It's an if. It's theoretical. You're spectating. If that pace kept up, she would have made about 8 more errors on the season. So it would have been, instead of 39, it would have been 47 errors in about 100 more attacks. And that still would have been a strong hitting percentage for Tara Lytle. Abby Emsch had a great hitting percentage too. It was 441 with about 680 some swings. She had a little bit of an edge in kills. I think it was like a 9 kill edge. So it was really close, really close. But at the end, I asked a couple of people that I trust in the volleyball coaching world, and we had conversation again with the staff, like, who do we think? And it was just Tara Lytle. Her efficiency was the one thing that drove it a little bit forward and made her step up into the limelight a little bit. Obviously, the head-to-head matchup last night went Abby Emsch's way, and I texted a few people. And I was like, well, this makes it harder. But of course, like I said before, those awards were locked in over the weekend. And I still think Tara Lytle absolutely deserves this. The senior has just put together a really strong season, and her hitting percentage has gone up every year from sophomore to junior to now senior. 585 hitting percentage. Could not ignore that. Still a lot of kills. 359 kills going into the district semifinals. Had 16 against Crestview last night. A really great middle blocker that is just really, really set the tone of the net. So Tara Lytle gets Offensive Player of the Year. We announced that a little bit about an hour ago. And then tomorrow we're going to be announcing the YSN Player of the Year, which is your MVP. So stay tuned for that. That'll be released tomorrow, and that'll be our final postseason award for volleyball. Speaking of volleyball, we have another interview to get to. I want to play Gianna Constantino, who is from McDonald Volleyball. I had a great conversation with her. We're going to play that after this break on YSN's Running Point, brought to you once again by, let me find my mouse, by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. So we'll be right back.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
I support police funding, securing our borders, and parental rights in education. I'm attorney Mark Hanai, the only Republican running for the 7th District Court of Appeals. I will always follow the law.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mark Hanai judge. Dave Johnson, chairman.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance. Because the best things in life happen at home.
I'm Mark Hanai, a conservative Republican. I believe in family values, the Second Amendment, and our Constitution. Vote for the only Republican running for the 7th District Court of Appeals. Protect your rights. Vote Hanai for judge.
Welcome back to Running Point. As promised, we are going to play an interview with Gianna Constantino from McDonald's. So enjoy this conversation with one of the standout players of the Blue Devils who are going to be playing in a district championship game tonight against Wellsville. Anthony Harwick here with McDonald Volleyball Player Profile. I'm joined by Gianna Constantino. Gianna, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
This McDonald program, it's hard to imagine. It's only been around for 4 years, but here you are in a district championship game. What do you think has been so key to the almost instant success of this volleyball program at McDonald?
I think our coaches and our players, I give a lot of credit to them, like how hard we work every practice. Like we just are always working hard and looking forward to playing, and I think that helps us a lot.
Since you brought up the coaching staff, we'll jump into this question. I mean, Coach Klockner, second year as the head varsity coach. What has he brought to this program, and how much have you learned from him while you've been under his tutelage?
I've learned a lot from him. I think that he really he helps out a lot of players. He focuses on a lot of skills and fundamentals, and he works on our conditioning and strength and helps us out that way too.
I mean, I've been told he's really big on conditioning, which can be good or bad at times. What has been your least favorite conditioning drill that you guys have had to do under Coach Klockner?
Uh, well, we do some gassers sometimes running. And we also do circuits in the weight room, and those just really tire you out. So I would say both of those.
Are there any conditioning workouts that you like that you really get into and hype you up?
I like lifting. We go in the weight room a lot, especially in the summer, about twice a week. I like that a lot.
Now you guys have a good staff as well. Coach Harkerroad, he coaches club all the time, and he brings a dynamic to the team as well. What do you think Coach Harkerroad brings to this coaching staff as well?
He brings a lot of energy. A lot of our players love to be around him. He's really fun, and he has a lot of great like fundamental and skill working, like a lot of advice to give us, and he helps out a lot, especially like on the bench during games too.
All right, this is a year where you've been asked to kind of, in the middle of the season, be put in a position that I'm sure you weren't really expecting to be, running a 6-2 offense after Megan had to miss this the second half of the season. From your perspective, what has it been like stepping up like that for your team and being able to just step into a role when you're needed?
Yeah, it was definitely unexpected, but I mean, I sat in 7th grade. I have a little bit of a background, but I mean, it's what our team needed, and I was willing to, step up when they needed me and hopefully help out.
Who do you think was the biggest help in that moment when you kind of realized that like you had to put on the setting shoes and learn how to set a diversity level?
My coach Tim, he is really good setting. He has like really great technique. He helped out a lot, and also Coach Mike, he also.
All right, so when you look at this season as a whole, like I said, you guys are in the district championship. What's this ride been like, and what makes this year so special for you guys?
This is one of the best teams our program has had yet. So I think the fact that knowing that like our seniors, Marie and Megan, are graduating, knowing that making every game count in this tournament, like, because we don't want the season to end, is like motivating us to keep going.
You're not a senior yet, but it's on the horizon. What have these seniors taught you that you're going to gear up when your senior season comes around?
Leadership. Our seniors are really good leaders this year, and I hope that I can, help lead our team next year and the couple more years to come.
What do you think is like the biggest way that they've kind of shown leadership this year?
Definitely by example. Maria especially, she is always, telling people what to do, like running the court. She really keeps us together. And Megan, she's always doing things, always cheering people on. That also helps a lot.
All right, what's your favorite thing about volleyball and playing the sport, and what makes you kind of keep coming back to it?
I love the excitement of it, like playing in those close games when it's really a battle and you don't know which way it's going to go. Just the enthusiasm and the adrenaline in you really just is exciting.
I'm going to take you back to young Gianna and playing at a young age. What are some of your first memories of playing volleyball?
One of the first times I played volleyball was in 6th grade. We had like a camp at our school because it was one of the first years our high school team was a program, and that like really was the first time I ever played, and I just like loved it ever since.
And so you're in a little unique space at McDonald because you didn't have varsity players to look up to because really it just started 4 years ago. So who were some role models that you had in your early years as an athlete?
I would say Megan Klockner. Because I played junior high with her, so I always looked up to her. I thought she was a really great player. And also, Maria and Megan, and just like any of the players that are older than me, I always looked up to them.
Who are some younger players that you think when you're a leader that you're going to really be able to be that guiding light for, like the players that you just mentioned were guiding lights to you?
I think our freshmen, Miley and Juliana, they really love the sport. They put a lot of effort in, and I think that they'll really be motivated to work hard next year, and hopefully I can help them do that.
All right, so outside of the gym, you're also a student athlete. So what are some of your favorite subjects in school right now, and what do you like studying the most?
I'm more of like math and science person. I just like math a lot. I'm good at it, I guess.
What subject do you have to work the hardest in?
Probably English. I mean, I get a lot of work in that class, so
What do you think has been the hardest assignment, whether no matter what class it is, that you've had so far in your high school career?
ooh. Um, I'd say probably just like essays, I guess. I read essays kind of a lot the past few years.
All right, so obviously you're proud about your grades, you're proud about your school. What makes you the most proud to represent that McDonald's school system and represent all the students that you go to school with?
I think that our school is really big on like community and like working together. Like I think that a lot of our students are, they work towards the common goal and we just are very disciplined, I'd say, and we just have really good programs.
You guys get a ton of support from this community that you just brought up. What does it feel like for you guys to know that you have people backing you in McDonald and you have people that show up and cheer you on every time that you go into a game?
It feels really good, especially in games, looking up at the stands, seeing all of my family and friends and just other supporters from the community cheering us on.
When you look in the stands, who's the first person you look for?
Probably my dad. He always comes to my sporting events, and sometimes I can hear him cheering up there.
What's that relationship like? Is he more of a coach dad or is he more of a supportive dad?
He's both. He used to coach me when I played basketball, but he's also really supportive and just helps me.
Okay, so obviously he's skilled at basketball. How much has he learned the sport of volleyball?
It has been very new to him the past few years, but I think he's done a really good job of picking up on things.
What do you think is the one misconception about the sport that maybe he had going in or you hear a lot of people have?
I would say I don't know that he would think it, but a lot of people think that it's like easy, like you're just keeping a ball in the air, but I think he really does understand the amount of like technique and skill that goes behind all of it.
All right, so you're a multiple sport athlete. What do you take from volleyball that helps you with the other sports that you play?
Um, I'd say just like motivation and hard work and just like working on like fine skills really helps you play the game.
What's the mindset like going from one sport to the other? Do you struggle with that, or has it always been this a smooth transition?
I'd say it's pretty smooth. I mean, you work on both sports throughout the year, so.
Right, so you play a sport, you work hard in school. You also have to keep a social life. What's time management like for you? Is it something that you've always been kind of good at time management, or if you had to kind of teach yourself how to be organized and manage your time?
I'd say I've always been pretty good at keeping organized. Sometimes I procrastinate a little bit, but I do a pretty good job of keeping on top of things.
When is the last time that you really procrastinated and it almost got you in trouble?
Probably on one of my English assignments.
All right, so English, I know you don't like it, but you also in English, the interesting about English classes is you have to read a lot of books. So what has been like your favorite book that's been assigned as an assignment in any English class? It could be back in middle school if you want.
I'd say probably last year my class read To Kill a Mockingbird. I don't know, I just found it interesting.
What other things interest you outside of the sport? What kind of hobbies do you have, and what kind of things do you do to take your mind off athletics?
I like to watch shows, I guess, and just like be on my phone, social media. I also like going on bike rides sometimes with like my friends or family.
Are you really into bike riding? Like, what's the hardest bike trail that you've gone to? Or do you
I
keep it
usually
kind of
just
simple?
like go around McDonald, but one time I went on, I don't even know what the trail's called, but it's just like a really like long straight one. I've never gone anywhere like
You mentioned also the shows that you watch. What's the last show that you binge watched?
Grey's Anatomy.
That's a long binge watch because I think it's on its like
Yeah.
16th season. I'm gonna ask because I know there's a lot of dramatic moments in that show. What fictional death do you think hits you the hardest?
Probably when Derek died.
Spoiler alert. All right. So, what is your favorite part about the high school bus rides that you take? Obviously, bus rides are when you get to bond with this team the most, and I know a lot of teams have different routines on the bus. Do you like the bus rides or no?
I do like the bus rides. I think it gives our team some time to like talk together and just have fun, and then also like listen to music and get ready for the games.
What are your favorite team bonding memories with this team that you have so far?
We went on a trip to Otterbein College for like overnight camp, and that was really fun, and I think it brought us together a lot.
Who do you think you've gotten to know the most this volleyball season from the start to the end?
I'd say probably Miley or freshman, also Juliana, but Miley, she shared a lot. She's really fun to be around.
All right, I'm going to ask you a couple of more rapid fire questions to get to know you a little bit off the court, and then we'll let you go. But if you had a time machine, would you want to go forward in time or back in time?
I'd say forward.
Where do you think you'd want to go? Like how far forward?
Maybe like 15, 20 years just to see like where I'm at, what I've done in more of my younger years.
Do you have dreams that go that far? Do you have somewhere that you'd like to see yourself in 20 years?
I don't know. Hopefully I'm like graduated college, live somewhere nice, have a family.
What's the dream spot to live? If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you want to live?
I would say I'd like to live in Florida for at least a little bit.
What's your favorite vacation spot that your family has been to?
I went to Italy with my family a few years ago because I have some family over there. That was really fun.
What is one spot you've never been that you'd like to take a vacation to?
Maybe like the Bahamas or like somewhere tropical like that.
All right. But before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to shout out your support system and all the people that have been there for you throughout the years.
Just all my family and my friends, my grandparents, my coaches, all my coaches from club and school, just all of them really supportive and have helped me.
All right, Gianna, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We wish you the best of luck in your district championship and hopefully even further. We appreciate the time and we look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Thank you.
Gianna Constantino from McDonald joining us a little bit ago. We were able to play that interview for you. We hope you enjoyed it. If you missed it and want to see it in its entirety, it'll be up very soon on our YouTube page. You can head over to there and watch it, and also keep an eye on that website because it'll be there too. McDonald will play it tonight in Lisbon in the district championship game against Wellsville. That should be a really fun one. A lot of good players going at it. You're going to have a matchup between Maria Rizal and Presley Stokes, and then obviously Gianna Constantino, Alana Amato. They both have good liberos. Freshman Miley Titus has come in as a really good libero for McDonald, and then you have Aubrey Ramsey and Wellsville. Both of them, run that 6-2 offense a little bit, so it'll be a really fun matchup in Lisbon tonight between McDonald and Wellsville. And then the other volleyball matchup that we have tonight is going to be Western Reserve against Canton Central Catholic, also in Division 4. That'll be in Columbiana for a district championship. We'll talk about all that and more a little bit later. But first, we have an interview to get to, a live one on the show, a guest. It is the last senior to be interviewed for the Girard Indians volleyball team. Maddie Molino. Maddie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Like we said, last senior to be interviewed, but last but not least, that is for sure. What's it been like being a senior with this great group of girls that you have, and trying to take in senior year with a great senior class?
It's been really fun. It's definitely been hard, like getting through all your last, but we have such a good team. So it's really exciting, and we're hoping to make it far in playoffs. So we're just trying to enjoy every moment.
You're still on that playoff run, district
Yes.
semifinal winners last night. We weren't able to be there, but you got to take us through the emotions because we've seen these set scores 27, 25, 28, 26 in the first two. What was it like to just be with this team and get through those two tough sets and then win that match in three and obviously punch a ticket to the championship?
Yeah, we sometimes have a hard time starting off, but once we got our momentum going, we played really well, and Coach Phil was really proud of us, so it was really exciting.
I mean, is there a different intensity especially for your seniors in practice and in these games, knowing that like if you don't go out and execute, that's it, you're done?
Yeah, we try to not to like take any team lightly because you never know what's gonna happen, and we practiced really hard this week leading up to this game, so it was super exciting.
All right, the whole thing in volleyball is you've earned 2 more practices, right? You've earned a couple of practices with this team before Saturday.
Yeah.
What is it about a practice in Girard that you think is a little bit unique? What does Phil Walters like to do in a practice to get you guys ready?
Well, he always says why change things if they're working. So our practices are pretty similar. Every practice is pretty much the same, but then based on what team we're playing, we'll change it up to like work on our defense if a certain girl hits a certain place, or where the other team has open spots. Like Coach Phil will scout them, and then we'll work that into our practice. But Coach Phil is so funny. Every practice is fun because he makes us laugh.
Now, Coach Walters won our YSN Coach of the Year. We have a lot of respect for him, and he's one of the most well-respected coaches in the area. What do you think it is about him, from your perspective, that makes him such a good coach, and what have you really connected with him over?
He just knows so much about volleyball, and I always look to him to see like what I need to fix. And he every time we're in a huddle, we could be up by 15 points, and there's always something our team could work on. He never like tells us, "Oh, you guys did so good, just grab water." It's always like what we can fix, even if we're up. There's always something we could do better on. We're not perfect, and we know that.
All right, so you spend 2 seasons with the coach, get to know him a little bit. What are some of his pet peeves, do you think? Things that you like, if someone does this, it'll get him angry.
Letting the ball hit the floor no matter what without your body on the floor. He always tells us we have to sell our skin. And if we let a ball drop, we run for sure after a game.
All right, so you obviously have a good coaching staff as well with Nicole Lucklin on the assistant side of things. What do you think? I want to talk about her too. What do you think she brings to this staff, and what have you had her help you in throughout your career?
I had her as my JV coach my sophomore year, and I have a lot of respect for her. She's a really good coach, and we love her. When Coach Phil calls a timeout or between games, she's always the first one to say something to us, and like her speeches are very motivating, and we love her.
We've seen a lot of development out of you throughout the years. What have you worked on the most in your volleyball career, you think? What skill set do you think you've tried to really sharpen up the most throughout your career?
Definitely my blocking. Last year I played right side, and I'm only like 5'5" at best. So playing front row and being so short, I like that always makes me nervous about my blocking. But Coach Phil says I have a good vertical, so he likes to have me in the front row. So transitioning from right side to middle was a huge change for me. I had never really played middle in club season. I tried it a few times, but I'd never spent a season playing middle, so it was definitely a big transition. But I love my position now, so I'm happy.
What was that like when Coach came to you, probably in the summer, and said, "We want you to move to middle"? What kind of things went through your head in that initial conversation?
I thought he was crazy for a second because I was like, I'm 5'5", and I'm gonna be going against such like tall girls. But he always says your height isn't what matters. It's if you have a good vertical and you can transition fast. He actually like throughout the summer, I kind of just switched between all the positions just to work on it. And then when we got to team camp in Sandusky, he had me try. He put me in middle, and then once I got my first block, he was like, "See, I knew you could play middle." So
What was
I've
that feeling
been there
like?
ever since.
What was that feeling like? The first block in the middle.
It felt good because I really didn't have any confidence in myself.
Do you feel that confidence rise every time you get a block throughout the season? Like one block, more confidence, one block, more confidence.
Yeah, it's definitely a good feeling.
All right. So we have to talk about your family. Obviously, that Melito name rings true throughout the Gerard kind of legacy. Talk
Yeah.
about your family a little bit and what makes them special to you, and what do you think makes your family a little bit unique from other families?
Um, so I have 2 older brothers, and they both went D1 in sports. So I definitely had big shoes to fill with my last name, and I don't know, they just really motivate me, and they're so supportive. Like they'll text me before every game and text me after every game. They'll watch on YSN, and they really do motivate me.
How competitive do you guys get as a family?
Oh, so competitive. We're all big in sports, so everything we do is a competition in our house.
What do you think is like the thing you guys compete in the most? Like, what's the biggest like competition in the family?
Hmm. Oh God, I don't know. Probably like we have a basketball court in our backyard, and like we'll have like tournaments on in like who can win, and I'm terrible at basketball, so I'm always like I'll be the referee. I can't play, but my brothers get so competitive in everything they do, so it's pretty funny. Like, and my sister is really good at basketball, so
Have you ever tried to get your brothers to play volleyball?
I have, but they just don't understand the fundamentals. Like it just doesn't make sense.
Do you think if because
They
boys volleyball is starting this year, do you think if the boys volleyball was in like Gerard back when they were in high school, do you think they would play it in the spring?
Oh, 100%. They loved being multi-sport athletes and, like, would play everything. Um, Dominic would play football and golf in the same season just because he liked it so much and couldn't choose, so, definitely they would try it.
Give them both a position on like if you were running a volleyball team, what positions do you think you would put them in?
I would put Nick in middle because he's tall and big, and I would put Dominic outside because he's very strong. I feel like he would be a good hitter.
That's fantastic. We talked a little bit earlier about like the senior year and going through all your last. How have you handled those emotions of senior night and your last home game and things like that?
Um, it's been really sad, and, um but I've just tried to be grateful for all the opportunities I've had, and our team's, like, doing so well, I feel like I can't be that upset about it, like, I'm having the best senior year I could have.
What were some of your favorite memories so far this year? It's not over yet, so we can't say you don't have more memories to get. But what so far? What have been some of your favorite memories about your senior season?
Um, our game against Hoban was so exciting. No one really thought, like, we would pull through with the win, and when we did, it was just, like, so rewarding.
I'm gonna put you on the spot. I apologize, but who are you gonna miss the most? Who are you gonna miss the most when you graduate from this program?
That's such a hard question.
I know.
Oh god. I'm gonna miss everyone, especially the seniors. But the underclassmen too, like Nico and Bailey, I'm gonna miss them so much too. Like we're just so close with them.
I'll make it a little bit easier. So, like in your 4 years, whether you could pick a senior or maybe you've gotten to know an underclassman, who have you gotten to know the most in the 4 years of volleyball that you've been with this team?
Um, Definitely Ezra Dede. She's one of my best friends in volleyball and outside of volleyball, so we're definitely super close.
All right, we got to talk about your future goals. Obviously, you have still a ways to go before you graduate high school, but what are some things that you want to see yourself doing after high school as a career, as a job path?
I'm looking to go into the pre-med field and then hopefully go to medical school.
Do you have a college picked out yet, or even like a general idea of where you want to go?
Um, I don't know yet. I'm still working on that. I'm filling out all my college applications right now and trying to decide, but um, maybe Kent State with my brother.
What's on your like college wish list of things that like, oh, if I really want to go to college here because it has this?
Um, okay, I really like Ohio State. It's pretty hard to get into, but um, I like the idea of like going to the football games and everything. Like that's just so fun. And I like Kent because my brother's there and I'm familiar with it. Um, and they have are good schools, so.
All right, so gonna get some rapid fire questions, get to know you a little bit off the court, and then we will let you go. First one is, what is the best birthday present you think you've ever received in your life?
Oh, probably my mom for my 13th birthday from my mom and dad. They got me a bracelet with it's like a little charm bracelet and it had the number 13 on it and it was so special to me. Like I still wear it to this day
So you
'cause it
still
is
just
meaningful.
have a random number 13.
Yes.
Was that your favorite birthday, 13, or do you have another one that kind of rings as your
Um,
favorite?
13 and 16 probably because my family had a big party. Me and my cousin, she's older than me, but we have the same birthday, so we always celebrate it together.
What about the best gift you've ever given someone else?
Ooh. I try to put a lot of meaning into my gifts I give, but one time Ezra, I got her, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there are these like little cameras and you can like look into them and when you click it, it like slides through pictures.
Oh yeah,
So I got her one of those with the pictures in it of us.
that's an old school toy. Like I grew up with your little slideshows.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What about like we're talking about gifts, and senior night comes with gifts. What were the senior night gifts this year that the underclassmen got you guys?
They did so good. I didn't mention Bree earlier when I said the underclassmen. I've been thinking about that. But Bree, Bailey, and Nico, they were so good to us, but got us Nike hoodies and like they got each of us our favorite color and our favorite candies and one of my favorite things they got us were blankets because ever since we've brought them to like every away game because it's always so cold on the bus on the way home. So all of us seniors have like our big blankets we're cuddled up in.
All right, it's spooky season, so I'm gonna ask, what's your favorite part about the whole fall season? Is it the pumpkin spice stuff? Is
I
it the
do like
scary movies? Is
I
it what
enjoy
is it?
pumpkin spice, yes.
You
I'm
do?
not a big Halloween person. I haven't even watched a scary movie this year, but maybe I'll do that this weekend.
All right. Before we let you go, I want to give you a chance to shout out your support system and all the people that have been there for you throughout the years.
I'd like to thank my family. They are so supportive to me, and I am very grateful for them. My mom, my dad, and all my siblings, and my cousins and my grandparents and aunts and uncles try to make it to every game they can. So that's very kind of them. Our student section is so great. I don't know, like, if you notice when you go to a game, but we always have, as many students as we can at every game, like, even Gilmore, all the students traveled there, and it was really exciting and nice for them to support us, so definitely the whole student section, and 3 of my best friends who don't play volleyball, Megan Durkin, Marie Ragazzino, and Sophia Littell are always there to support us too, so I'm grateful for everyone.
Yeah, well, I was at the Fitch game, and that was one of the best volleyball atmospheres I'd seen out of a high school match because they both brought really great student sections, and they were both going at it. So yes, we are fully aware of the student section support that you guys get. It is
Yeah,
incredible.
it's awesome.
Maddie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and giving us a little insight into your senior year. We wish you the best of luck in this district championship coming up on Saturday, and we hope to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Maddie Melito from Girard Senior, the last senior that we had to interview. We have interviewed every senior from Girard volleyball now, and it's good. It's good to get that checklist off the mark. Girard will play in the district championship game on Saturday in Jefferson, and they will match up against the 2 seed in the district and did not avoid the 1 seed. Marlington went right at Girard, so it'll be 1 versus 2 in the district championship, probably because, well, that 3 seed is Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, who has, in my opinion, the best volleyball player in the state, in Juravicius, who is committed to go to Nebraska. So I think people wanted to avoid Notre Dame Cathedral Latin if they could. So Marlington kind of took the lesser of two evils, maybe. We'll see, though. That might come back to bite them because we definitely hope that Girard is able to get the win. Before we get out of here and send you to Casual Sports Podcast, want to let you know what kind of tournament games are going to be happening tonight because we have district championships in volleyball and soccer on the docket tonight. And we'll go into soccer first. We talked about this. We are guaranteed a regional finalist on YSN in Division 3. But first, we'll go into Division 2 soccer as we have Kenston versus Canfield at Ravenna High School. That one will be the 2 seed versus the 3 seed. Common opponents on this. This is Mike Swinehart who brought this up. Marlington, Canfield won 5-0, Kenston won 6-0. So they both beat Marlington this year in pretty comparable ways. And then they played each other in the regular season on October 8th, and they tied at Kinston 1-1. So this should be a fun district championship in Hubbard, at Ravenna, I'm sorry. In Hubbard, at Hubbard High School, it'll be West Branch versus West Geauga. This is the 1 versus 5 seed. This is girls soccer, by the way. Some common opponents for these two. They both played Berkshire. West Branch won 4-1. West Geauga won 7-3. They have both played Salem. West Branch tied 2-2. West Geauga won 5-0 in that district semifinal match a little bit earlier on this week. And they have both played Chagrin Falls. West Geauga tied 2-2, and West Branch tied 1-1. So in those common opponents, pretty comparable matchup. And we'll see what West Geauga and West Branch had to go off with each other. In Division 3, this is where we are guaranteed at least one team in the regional final because of the way the bracket in the region holds up. At South Range, it'll be number 1 seed Poland versus number 15 seed Cardinal Mooney for a district championship. Common opponents, Niles. Cardinal Mooney lost to them 2-4. Poland won 2-1, and then won again 4-0. They both played Canfield as well. Poland lost 4-1. Mooney lost 5-0 in the season. And they both played Howland. Mooney lost 5-0. Poland lost 1-0. So should be a good one tonight in South Range with Poland versus Mooney. Also, Division 3, we have Waterloo, who is still undefeated on the season, the 2 seed in the district. They'll play the 3 seed Lakeview Bulldogs at 15-2-1. They both played Badger this year. Lakeview won 3-0. Waterloo won 3-2 in overtime in the district semifinal. And they both played Champion. Waterloo tied with Champion in their first matchup, won 2-1 in the second. Lakeview won 2-0 over Champion in the district semifinal to get to here. So that'll be a fun one tonight as well. We already talked about the volleyball district championships happening tonight. Just 2 of them in Division 4. In Lisbon, we will have Wellsville versus McDonald. So we are guaranteed a YSN team winning that district championship. That should be fun. And then we hope we get 2 district championships tonight because Western Reserve will be playing Canton Central Catholic in Columbiana. And if you're a volleyball fan, those are the only 2 districts that are local. So if you don't want to travel to see these volleyball teams, you might want to head out tonight to see some local district matchups in Columbiana and Lisbon, because if you go to the other districts, you're either going to Jefferson, Streetsboro, or Grand Valley, or Medina. So, you want to go to one of those. Actually, no, Berkshire beat Garfield, so we don't have one in Medina. So just Grand Valley or Streetsboro or Jefferson for the other divisions. But if you like to travel, go ahead. We're going to have that game covered for you on Saturday, though, between Crestview and Kirtland. Another thank you to Baker's Golden Dairy for sponsoring that game and making sure we are able to get it covered on Saturday. District Championship, that should be fun. I'll go down there and call that game in Grand Valley. That'll do it for today's episode of Running Point. Want to thank Manny Molino for taking her time to join us live on the show. Also want to thank Ariana Daniels and Gianna Constantino for both taking their time to do an interview yesterday as well. And thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Casual Sports Podcast coming up next from 2 to 3. Power Hour has you cooking from 3 to 4. And then, like I said, a lot of district championships tonight on girls soccer and volleyball. Both of those sports in action in district championships. Get out there, support some of these athletes, and hopefully we get some district championships to celebrate. We'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 2. Me and Ty will have our football preview for playoffs. We'll play these interviews that Ian did with Struthers that we couldn't get to today with Coach Bayek and Alec Grisab tomorrow to preview the football scene and preview the Struthers playoff game, as well as all of the playoff games that'll be on the network tomorrow. And that'll be tomorrow from 12 to 2. The last show, it'll be 2 hours. Tune in